Marvel's latest series, What If, is certainly an interesting case. Do I like it? Yeah, it's certainly fun. It's not perfect, it's not bad or mediocre, it's good. But this show is an interesting case because it is unlike a normal show. In a normal series, if it's good, each episode builds on the next and it's all one narrative. Meanwhile, What If is a series where each and every episode takes place in a different universe, so every story is its own individual thing. So, if I had to talk about this show, I would have to talk about each and every single episode. And well, I'm not doing that. I have also talked about each and every episode in my podcast, the comic book into the comic verse. So if that is something you're interested in, please give it a listen. It'd be really helpful. But out of all the episodes, there is one episode that is my favorite. And it is my favorite because it's the one episode that I was emotionally engaged in, and a story I found myself thinking a lot about after seeing the episode, and that is the Doctor Strange episode. And spoiler alert for this particular episode. So, the episode begins with Strange and Christine Palmer meeting and planning to go to an award function in his car. And they talk for a bit and all seems well and good. But whoever has seen the Doctor Strange movie knows that a car crash takes place after this, and that's exactly what happens here. But this time, Christine is the one who dies. We feel a little bad because the episode took some time to make us care for them, even a little bit, and then we have a montage of her funeral, and the Watcher's narration is used quite well to tell us what happened afterwards, and how Strange becomes the Sorcerer Supreme. I really like this because, unlike the Captain Carter episode, which is basically the first Avenger but with a different lead, this episode is its own original story, and it skips all the Doctor Strange movie stuff because, well, we have seen it. Then the episode focuses on the theme of choice, just like the theme of the entire series, and Strange chooses to go back to the day with Christine, and she dies again and again. Then it somewhat becomes like Groundhog Day, where he keeps on going back and she keeps on dying in different ways despite them trying to change the past. This is great because the protagonist here has a clear personal want to save Christine from death. This clear goal of Strange gives the episode a proper plot, and this certainly makes for a linear story, but also makes us care. Seeing him fail repeatedly makes us feel empathy. This episode alone made me care about the relationship more than the movie itself. After the Ancient One tries to tell Strange that he cannot bring her back, Strange leaves and finds this ancient library where he tries to learn and increase his power. All of this works because his want is still the same. We are in a different location, but Strange's internal goal is still clear. Strange begins to steal the power of many different creatures from different places, and this becomes his gradual turn to evil. And I loved it. Mainly because he isn't evil for the sake of being evil, he doesn't think he's the villain. From his perspective, he is just doing what needs to be done. And I can't even hate him for it because I care about him. I know that what he's doing is coming from a place of love and from the inability to cope with loss. Meanwhile, the episode then cuts to the same moment where Strange made the choice to go back, but this time he doesn't. Now, this is where the theme of choice shines, because when the two Stranges fight, it's not for the sake of fighting. The conflict here works because they hold different ideologies, different beliefs, and that's more interesting. The good Strange believes in moving on and learning that death is permanent. Meanwhile, the evil Strange believes in bringing her back. Both characters have motivations, and that too believable motivations. We know where they're coming from, what they've been through, and why they're doing all of this. Plus, Strange here is literally fighting himself, his inner demon. He's fighting a version of himself who made a different choice, which is why the entire conflict becomes personal and human. Also, the fight scenes are really creatively executed. With a character like Doctor Strange, the use of spells and sorcery made for some pretty exciting action sequences. Now, from Marvel, I expected a typical happy ending. Not that happy endings are bad, if they're suitable to the narrative, then sure. But I love what they did here. The evil Strange absorbs the good Strange and become one, and then they use this newfound power to bring back Christine. He was told before that this could end in everything being destroyed, but he ignored it. Strange finally gets his want. He finally saves Christine. But at what cost? His self. When she wakes up, Strange is now an abomination. He's a worse version of himself, and this terrifies her. He got what he wanted, just not the way he wanted it. And as he was warned, this causes the universe to slowly get destroyed. Strange realizes what he had done, and he tries his best to stop it. The Watcher actually plays a key role in this episode. Strange asks for forgiveness, but the Watcher doesn't do anything. He punishes Strange for his actions and for his inability to change. And I was still clinging on to the hope that something will happen and the day will be saved, and no. The episode ends in pure darkness as Doctor Strange had just destroyed his entire universe. And that was powerful. The dark ending works because firstly, it still manages to communicate its theme. which is that death is permanent, and although it might be extremely difficult to cope with, we have to learn to move on and accept it. Secondly, the dark ending works because it's a warning, a caution for what might happen if we don't grow and learn. Strange here follows a negative change arc, where the character rejects the truth in order to pursue a greater lie, and by the end of the story, they end off in a worse place than they started. The other episodes are certainly fun, but that's just what they are. Meanwhile, this episode really has a theme that it wants to convey, and it does so through the use of characters' beliefs and the actions they take with those beliefs. I love this episode if you couldn't tell, and I just did a talk about it. So, even if you're not interested in the What If show, I suggest you give this simple 30-minute episode a try. You don't even need to see the other episodes to understand this one. This is its own contained story that moved me, and this is why.